Okay, so I was basically waiting for the video to reach 20 seconds because um, normally when I, like just like the previous video, when I start right away it cuts off. So today is the 19th of December. Christmas Day is just making its way, and well, what a couple of years it's been. I finally feel like I'm getting back to myself in a good state and able to make a move on, like I said in my previous video. So, this year is just about closing the chapter to all the trauma, all the bad things that have happened in the last 4 years, and starting fresh, first healing, and then walking into my new path, new life, new agenda, new cycles, and my God being there at the forefront. Because I got confirmation from many sources, well, a couple of sources, let's not over exaggerate, that um, where I was not healing. It was just going around in circles and getting sicker and sicker, worse and worse. And I do agree with that because I felt like I wasn't getting anywhere, and there was this fog and just fuzz and band around my head that I couldn't get rid of. But I have a sense of freedom in things psychological, mental, and spiritual because I've cut off people spiritually, severed all soul ties, and put a close on friendships and relationships, even those that were active in the background. Hello. Because of family relations or former relationships in high school, in sixth form, university, in primary school, even in primary school. You find that even people you didn't know back when you were a child saw you as an enemy, as someone to steal from. Like we say in the Christian faith, the enemy only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And that has been his agenda, even more so the last 4 years, and is predominantly so in this year. I am alive by the grace of God because there are multiple times where I would have met my Maker during this year. In my sleep, mostly. It was a fight to wake up, a fight to stay sane, because the bombardment on my mind was intense, and my body also had a barrage of attacks as well. And again, when I go through something intense, I can't remember for the most part. The troubling parts are blanked out from my mind. Maybe that's a way of coping, but I have a feeling I'll be able to remember at a later date because, like I said in my previous video, I am getting maybe repressed or forgotten memories or memories that were in my subconscious from when I was young. I didn't know I was bullied when I was in primary school or nursery or kindergarten. We called it reception just before grade 1. Then I didn't know I was bullied in grade 4 and 5 because it didn't register. But growing up, the people who perpetrated that had also a spiritual agenda, as it has been revealed this year. Whatever has been done or was done, not has been done, was done over the course of my life has timed out. Like I say, this year the enemy really wanted my life, and all those from my home country who did whatever they did in their cult are expecting me to expire this year. But I have no intention of dying. I have no intention of ending it here before I fulfill my God-given destiny, living out a good life. Sure, there's been a detour for 4 years, and I feel complete anger towards the people who put me in this situation. And I pray again, God punishes them hard. because to them they think they can get away with ruining a person's life. It was also spiritual and overt bullying. And previously, in my previous work, it was also psychological. So from one bad place to another, and then the hospital that I was in, some of the nurses were both black, but for some reason chose to be very discriminatory towards me. The question is why? She was there to do a job, and I was a vulnerable individual. This is before I went to the mental health institute or whatever. And I was in the hospital. It was just like one bombardment after another, one mistreatment after another. And then the worst was where I was for my mental health. I know there are like policies that they have to follow when you admit a patient. But 3 to 4 days in, if they do not address a person's distress by assuring them or explaining where they are, because they never did, even if it means over and over to ensure that they're calm, rather than letting them cry their eyes out and getting sick up to 4 days. That place was full of neglect and preferential treatment to certain patients. And even when I got better, and I'm using the place I went to previously in October, where I self-admitted, there was a stark difference. Even people who are like emotional were dealt with accordingly. People would have mental breakdowns upon breakdowns. They're already there because of mental breakdowns or being sectioned. But they handled them well. The other place, it was like no one cared. And in the library, and their children running about, it's really adorable. And it's taken 4 years for me to realize that that place needed many safeguarding, like what do you call it? Safeguarding cases raised. Because even when I was with, there was no one to check up on you, to make you feel reassured or safe. You are on your own for hours on end. Activities and they can't use COVID as an excuse. They really can't. They were not short-staffed. They hardly ever talked to inform us about anything. And I felt isolated and lonely. I just had to suck it up. I thought that was normal, but it's not. You're not supposed to feel lonely when you're being taken care of as a vulnerable individual, especially with one who didn't present violent behavior. And I never have. It's more vulnerability. It's more like people taking advantage of my vulnerable state or a state of confusion and being a danger to myself and making my head go poof. You need a lot of reassurance and people to keep you grounded to reality, but they didn't give that. Like I said, there was only one nurse out of all of them who fought for me, who told me how to behave. They told me, don't have a full-blown meltdown. Do not argue with the staff members because they'll just put you in here longer. Even if you're frustrated, just bear with it and show them that you have capacity to carry on a good life and you have capacity in general. And she was just we'd have conversation and I'd feel valued, I'd feel safe, I'd feel worthwhile. While the other staff members just carried on in their offices, drank their cup of teas, and hardly ever checked up on me. Well, she's okay. She's back to normal. Yeah, but it doesn't mean I'm like healed. I'm still in that hospital meaning. I should be checking up and giving reassurance rather than isolating a person, because when you isolate some, like leaving them in isolation or alone for long periods of time, that is when people start ruminating or having, again, thoughts. I worked in healthcare with vulnerable individuals with challenging behavior. All they needed was a hello, a touch, constant checking up on, and they would be calm, knowing that there's someone there looking out for them. They assume just because I wasn't all there to begin with, I didn't register. It registers. And I feel hurt. I feel betrayed. I feel angry that there are people like that in the healthcare system who just go to work in order to gain a quick buck. And their behavior was abhorrible. And there, it wasn't just one, it was a set of them. And like I said, there was a lady who was hitting, even if it was lightly, a patient to get her off her when she was cleaning. All they had to do is just what? Assertively remove her from. It wasn't like she was even attacking her. All she wanted was a hug or something along those lines. Or one of the things she was common of doing is taking people's bags. All they had to do was what? Guide her, remove her hands, and guide her somewhere else and tell her no in a firm voice, assertive voice, a commanding voice, or demeanor. But the lady was hitting her. And there was a lady who passed out on the CCTV cameras, and it took a good couple of minutes for them to go and check up what was going on. And threatening patients in the who were crying their eyes out. But one of them that I heard that say that, "Oh, just try that again. Continue doing that, and you see what will happen. You see what I'll do to you." That isn't the behavior you're supposed to have in a mental health world. Sure, there are people who are, like I met some of them. I kind of wondered why I was there because there was something else. Where you have to be really on your toes and alert, but you do not threaten people. At least that's my understanding. It's not their fault, and sometimes you're just difficult, but that is why you're in that job. You're there to be assertive and not assertive, in control. You're trained to deal with those people, not to threaten them. Imagine if it was a person like me who was vulnerable, who was just what? Gentle. And that would put me in a higher state of what? Paranoia. I was thinking I'm not safe, these people have kidnapped me, I'm in the end of the world, I'm being persecuted, and then you have someone telling you that to try to do that again. Misbehave and see what happens. See what I'll do to you. And the lady who was hitting that poor patient, I don't even know if there was disciplinary. She just went home, came back a few days, shift, no change. Because they totally dismissed the fact that I told them. There were other witnesses, other staff members, and they deemed that okay. But the other place, there was no such thing. There was a lady who was clingy, taking stuff. But all they had to do is remove their hands, in however manner they do it, because it's not gentle, it's not fun, it's not pleasant, and guide her somewhere else, sternly or forcibly, for her sake and the sake of the other residents or staff members. There was no hitting, no patting, no tapping. There was just what? Proper work. And there were constant checks. You felt as if you were in a safe place. To some people who are there against their will, obviously they feel like they're being watched 24/7, but that is the whole point. To ensure that they don't do anything to hurt themselves or anyone else. But for people like me who were there, who needed that reassurance and knowing that I am safe, that's what I needed. They did an amazing job. 2024, 2025, 2021, the entire establishment. And they had mold in the shower rooms. They had extreme mold. And they didn't tell us that there was, like I said, a bathroom that was squeaky clean. It was given preferentially to the other women. Us on the other side were the leftovers. No information, no options. And even the ladies, once the water wasn't working, you can tell they didn't want to bathe in our side of the shower. They went a couple of days without bathing because there was mold, but we had to stick it out. The place should have been shut down because of the amount of mold that was there. There were two bathrooms. One had mold, but it wasn't that bad. And then there was another one which had so much mold. Questionable. And the staff members there, like I said, I went to a different court, and there, the people came, like I said before, were placed in the ward beep beep beep, where I was in 2021, and they all had negative things to say. Because there, the people are over dramatic. They'll take anything as an attack and a reason to keep you there. And there was just complaints all the way through. But I've seen the difference between good workers, good healthcare professionals, and those who are just there for money. at the expense of their patients. They're the reasons why people get agitated and act out more so than they should because they're not listened to. And when I had capacity, they were telling me, go back to your room, go back to your room, not even listening. They weren't observing, they were just sitting there. I was talking to this nurse, I don't know if it was a nurse or I don't even remember the other word, coherently, and she saw that I was what? In a good state. But the staff who were there every single day did not bother to check up on me, to assess me, until I had to shout at them to get me toiletries, like I said before. And then looking at me as if a miracle had happened, as if I could talk for the first time, as if my brain had just switched on for the first time. Because they didn't do their job. And I can't say they were short-staffed, because I saw a lot of people going up and down, left and right. And they couldn't afford to be short-staffed either. They were not short-staffed. They were just neglectful. And I'm very angry. I wouldn't have been put on a stupid medication that's made me gain weight the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life. I'm feeling insecure. And having to shift it has been a nightmare. But on my new medication, I feel like it's feasible and possible, and I just have to start all over again. My journey, because I'm always dedicated to going to the gym. I always have been, because I've seen results. Put in the hard work and you see results. But put in the hard work and you're stagnant and even gain more weight. That's disheartening and depressing. I've held my head up high, but there are times when I default to comfort eating because nothing I did was working. And conflicting messages. Lose weight because of your health. Take your medication, but the medication makes you put on weight. Eat a little bit, and then go into starvation mode. It's either comfort eating or starvation mode. Trying to lose weight because the gym isn't getting any results. Starvation mode, stagnant weight, or weight gain. Again, everything you do is either weight gain or stagnation. The smallest meal you eat, weight gain. How are you supposed to manage a healthy diet if the medication, and they don't want to change it because it works on your mind, your body is irrelevant. That is why I had to argue this year. I had to be difficult this year to tell them you're giving me mixed signals. You're telling me to be healthy, eat healthy. I was vegan for like a year. I was supposed to have lost some weight and exercise. And I'm still going back to being vegan again because I like that lifestyle and I think it would be good for me. I'm very angry at a lot of people who've screwed up my life. And you can't tell me don't blame other people because they were the ones who put me in this place. Because they're evil in nature, evil in heart. They think that their way of life is normal when they ruin other people's lives. Vindictive, bitter, bigoted, racially discriminatory. Even in healthcare, neglectful. If they just told me where I was safe, giving me reassurance, I would have had the right medication and flued up a lot quicker, rather than going for 4 days and then getting depressed after. Given the wrong medication in a high dose, that made me gain 30 kg in a month, and I'm not exaggerating. And gave me that medication for years. It's just now that I'm feeling better, my body isn't stiff, my mind isn't foggy. For the last 4 years, that's where I've been, even when I was working. I wasn't my optimal self. And like I said previously in the comment under my video, it took 2 fellow patients to calm me down and do the work of the people that were there. There is no excuse of saying, oh, procedure and protocol. All they did was hold my hand. All they did was be comical, be loving, be affectionate. Not crossing any bounds, just being there. Calming me down, using calming techniques, explaining that there are quiet rooms, you're safe, and all of that. And that is all I needed. For 4 days, they couldn't have done that. The nurses couldn't have done that. And fluids, instead of encouraging fluids, all they did was leave it in the room and hope that I'm here confused, not knowing where I am, and thinking everybody's out to get me. You really think I'm going to be drinking fluids that I don't know? Instead of why you're giving fluid, sit down and explain that, look, you've been crying for 4 days. You're safe, you're in hospital, your parents know where you are, and you'll be fine. You'll go home when you're better. But I never got any of that. Ever. Even when I was getting better, oh, they said, oh, you're getting better. But because I wasn't all there, I just went with it. Happy at the affection or recognition that I exist. That's what it was. And I was lonely. The halls were empty. No one to check up on me. And even if I spent my time in my room on watching videos, there was a void. And like I said, they gave preferential treatment to certain patients. They think we don't notice. They think people with mental health problems do not notice. How much so those who are in care homes with dementia, they still have feelings. This is why I want to work in healthcare. Again, before I do teaching, because I feel that's where I'm most needed. I can say I've been there, and I know what they need, and I know how to treat them, and I know how to call bullcrap when I see it. I'm really angry. There's so much anger in me. The first time in my entire life, I felt so much anger. I haven't felt this much anger towards people in a long time, or ever. I feel like they've ruined my life. All these years I could have been teaching happily, built a career, moved out of my family's house. I'm living independently, but I had to be battling with my health, physically, my mind, and spiritual warfare too, because of evil people I used to work with. Like I said, it was both a physical fight and a spiritual attack. Question is why? There are some people who just don't like people who are sincere to their faith, or again, steal, kill, and destroy. Whether you have something good, or even the smallest ember, they will take that good and exchange it for their evil. Because what they do, it times out. When they steal from someone, they have to exchange the evil in them and dump it on a person. And when that good times out, and what they've stolen times out, they go to the next person. And again, exchange. Because the evil nature in them, whatever they've done, the repercussions of their witchcraft always comes back on their own heads. But in the process, they've ruined lives, they delayed lives, they've stolen destinies. And they did that, and I was just a victim of that. A lot of people. And even just insecure, tender-headed morals. Because I was an introvert, like I said. I never used to talk, but when I actually showcased that I have a brain, some people weren't happy. It's just basic. So of utilizing our like skills in terms of teamwork, but that is what petty people do in work. Those who like the attention on them instead of doing the job properly, at the expense of the residents are taken care of, as long as they look good, as long as they have a good pat on the back by the manager. They're not doing the job for the residents. They're doing their job to what? To remind people, for their ego, to show off that they what? Rule the joint. While there are people with what? Real brains who what? Downplay themselves because they know why they're there. And when they shine, they're the weak egos, getting butthurt, spreading rumors. That's what happened to me. Lies. It's just I'm remembering now. Because I just used to ignore. And it used to get to me. I just subconsciously. And having people following you doing your work. There was never an issue with my work. Ever. All of a sudden, I used my brain. And someone noticed. And they were there, cautionary, making tales, telling family members, oh, this and that. Instead of what? Showcasing your care home, your team, as capable. You're making the family members scared to trust staff members. What if that's the only person there, the anxiety? They forget about the anxiety. They're what? Putting on the residents and the residents' family. Sometimes you can't help who you work with. So don't jeopardize like the company's reputation or an innocent person's reputation just because of your ego. That goes out to idiots who think they're the ish. Just because they want the attention, they'll ruin other people's reputation. If I was a nurse, I would have been in so much trouble. And that's one of the other reasons why I didn't want to work as a nurse. Because you could see, if you're not on their team, they'll do whatever they can to ruin your reputation and to downgrade your capabilities. Slander you to family members. If they do that about carers, what more nurses? Family members will automatically be hostile towards nurses, the carers of what's slandered, making the job more difficult. They're just evil people out there, and my brain cannot comprehend how evil they think and how evil they are. Anyway, it's getting towards the end of the year, and with 2025 I close every traumatic thing that's ever happened to me. Everything. So I enter into the new. Reset, restart, and those who've tormented me through witchcraft and sorcery will not touch me anymore, because I have prayed to kingdom come for how many months? Probably 11 months or 12 months. But the Lord has heard my cry. They will pay. And this isn't revenge. I'm asking for the Lord's vengeance on my behalf, trying to take me before my time. The ish that they've put me through, I can't even explain it on camera. I'm blackouts even thinking about it. Anyway, those who are struggling, I'm not talking about astral projection, witchcraft arrows, attacks from evil witches, because there are good witches. Even though we do not agree with what they practice, they're good people. They do not attack people but defend themselves because they don't know any other way. I've faced evil bitches and evil witches. It's time for rest, renewal, and healing. As I let my God fight them, because I've handed them over to Him. I know them by name, so He's recorded them down. He knows them. We're both in agreement. The angels see everything. So it's only a matter of time before they get their just desserts. No my words, but God's. They shouldn't be messing with the innocent. Spreading slander, spreading lies, demoralizing people who actually want to join the ministry. Destiny destroyers, destiny hijackers, and especially destiny destroyers. I used to have oppression and devils and people astral projecting telling me that I'm not worth it, I'm not a real Christian, I'm a hypocrite and all of that. Just because this is a warfare, people who want to get into ministry have them before they start. Or some of them do. Lies spread against their character. But in actuality, just fighting demons and devils and humans in demon form. Humans and devils in human form are trying to prevent the move of God from happening. And my God always reveals the truth. And the losers who've been trying to diminish or defame my character are always revealed as the ones with weak egos, mental issues, psychopaths. Just people who do not know how to respect the law, both in the physical terms and spiritual terms as well. My ministry is for the young generation. If I'm going to be a pastor, to be for the young people. I'm going to be a teacher to ensure that even my presence dispels all confusing spirits, influential spirits by evil people. That was my job at the job I had before, but I was overwhelmed. Even your mere presence can set people free. And I want to be a role model where they get people of petty behavior and immature individuals who haven't aged from high school, whether are bratty and entitled, no, full-fledged narcissists. I can't even see that because there are a whole herd of them. We cannot differentiate between normal behavior or mentally challenged behavior. Mentally distorted behavior, sorry, not mentally challenged, mental distorted behavior. It is both demonically sourced and person's choices that make up a person's lifestyle. Anyway, I know my destiny is bright. I know my future is bright. Despite how much the enemy, the devil, and all his agents in human form, devils in human form have tried, they cannot hide the fact that my star shines bright, and my life is dedicated to ensuring that the next generation grows up to be admirable, healthy, both mentally and psychologically, stable individuals. That is my prayer that this coming generation, the young ones, where my heart is, are raised with good morals, good ethos, and they know and acknowledge the difference between right and wrong in their daily lives and otherwise. That is my mission. Because I've met grown men and women who act like not even brats, like brats but narcissists. Brats usually grow up to be narcissists and psychopaths, and those who are warped in the head because there's no one to tell them no and no one to bring them to account. And I want the young ones to know accountability, to know that the actions that they want to have repercussions. Also to enjoy their youth and not grow up too quickly. Choosing role models who steal their childhoods away from them. I want them to see me as a role model who encourages natural growth that is healthy and paced. Some people mature faster than others, but it is also natural. Because we have spiritually overpowered people who influence their minds so they don't enjoy their childhoods the way they're supposed to. In teaching areas, in healthcare, and take advantage of the vulnerable. There was a doctor who visited me at our house, and that crazy nutcase woman was doing some crazy witchcraft. I still feel the effects of it now. It was weird. Her behavior was very weird. Trying to calm me down. I thought at first she was trying to calm me down, but it was weird. It was like she was casting an enchantment when talking to me. And I was really angry. My anger, I think, outdid her witchcraft. And those are the ones I know. Because even at court, there were guys. I can say it's in my head, but I know I've seen those really white eyes, like the Ngangas. The witch doctor when their eyes go white. Because there are some men who are when they're walking, their eyes would do that. In Africa, you know what I'm going on about. There's just some people who take advantage of the vulnerable in order to make their lives miserable as a source of power. The more torment they go through, the more power they get. But the more they mess them up in the mind, the more they're rewarded for derailing their destinies. Which is my opinion. Anywho, I look forward to Christmas. I look forward to self-care. And I'm happy for that self-care. And I'm thankful for taking a chance and meeting a good person who's been an amazing friend. And one who hasn't. Right now, I'm avoiding certain people because I'm sensitive to things like evil intent and negative vibes in general. I am so sorry. There's just some people when I meet, my whole day is messed up. My mind is fuzzy. I am confused. I'm emotional. I'm an emotional wreck. These people carry bad vibes, and when you're like highly sensitive, especially when you're like just recover from a mental breakdown, you're in a sensitive state. But I didn't have a mental breakdown. It was it was preventing that because of a supernatural phenomenon. So the doctors can say whatever they want. In Africa, we had to deal with this ish. Even though I was young, I don't fully remember. But you'd have elders and you have pastors clearing out the house, praying down the house. Traditional doctors doing their thing. And then some of them were a bit, sketchy. So the doctors can say what they want. I know what I saw. I can tell the difference between something in my head and something that's spiritual because I've been there. Even in this country. having so-called classmates who are doing the juju at a young age, because that is their way. In Africa, we have that because you stole their boyfriend, or in their heads stole just when things died out. Because you like it, you see a guy that you like and he likes you, but they want him there, they would go dugu witchcraft. Because your past and used to taste dugu witchcraft. Because your family is well off and they're in competition. Dugu, they lower you, they do something to you. There's some people are just that evil. Just because they cannot stand the fact that someone is better than them in one area. Everybody has an area that we all excel in. Some people excel in more areas than others, but that's the whole point of life. There will always be someone better than you. You will always be better than someone in some way, but there will always be someone who is better than you. Even these high up people, there's always someone to outdo them. But if people can't accept that, then they will never be happy. They will always be competing, even though someone is clearly outranked them. They are wasting their energy and their lives trying to outdo them or bring them down or break them or until they destroy what they have because they're so. I really don't understand people are like that. Anyway, the only competition I have is myself. The only ideal body-wise I have is myself. Because I've seen myself, like I said before, in my best state. I don't need a model, although I can look at them and say, wow, that body's banging. And aim for certain parts to look, no, kind of develop a body type like them, because I acknowledge I won't look like them. But I can work hard or do their regimens to transform into my own version, inspired by them. But I look at my own body previously when I was okay as my ideal, as my objective, as my goal. But I guess there are some people who look to other models or in a healthy manner as a way of saying, I want to end up with that body. Not like, I want to end up like that in my own way. That's how I see it. I'm kind of getting a good meaning to something here that's messing with my mind. But the voices you can hear in the background is sweet. This is one of the reasons I want to have children. Sweet, bright future, and patriarchy, and to have some options. Because I know how it feels to be neglected, how it feels to be neglected, pushed to the side, even in your most vulnerable state, left on your own. And you're supposed to be professionals. So I want to be someone who helps people when they can't help themselves. So I was the happiest working a care home. Because I knew my actions were worthwhile. As long as I saw them happy, the residents calm, having a good day, I knew that I'd done a good job. And the kids, as long as I saw progress, I didn't have the chance to see that because of evil, selfish. I just don't feel the words to describe them. It was a Catholic school too. Yeah, that's one of the reasons I went there, because I thought Catholic, God-fearing people. They're the worst. At least that's good. They were the worst. If I ever get to see this, they were the worst. Even when getting a reference, they were so rude for nothing. Receptionist, decent. HR, my God. You're supposed to represent the school. But then again, I've come across people who are that rude and just miserable kids. Their entire lives are miserable, so they want to make other people's lives miserable or pass on that miserableness to other people in their mannerism. There's a thing as customer service. We all get trained in this. People want to come back if you're being spoken to rudely, even if it's former employees. They obviously have negative things to say. Anyway, I've just been ranting on because I can't finish. Hopefully gives you a scope of life in the UK. It's not all rainbows and sunshine. For some people it is, but the majority it's not. But I'm not putting you off from coming. I'm just showing you the reality. I came here as a normal, healthy young woman. Look at me now. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stay there. It's life. Sometimes it hands you lemons. Sometimes you have to squeeze them in your eye, bite the rind off, spit it out after you suck the juices out. Say, ha, I ain't making no lemonade. I don't need no sugar. I bit through it, sucked it up, and now I'm strong. I've built a resistance. No sugar for me, no weak, diluted lemon juice for me, but the real deal. So I didn't make lemonade. I stuffed my eyes with lemons and bit the rind off and sucked lemon juice, even if it was bitter and harsh. Plowed through. Lemonade is for next year, because I want to overcome the lemon without the water or the sugar. Because I wasn't given that. So I had to make my own juice. No sugar. Anyway, see you later.